Welcome back to the shop, and today's video is going to be a little bit different. I kind of just wanted to let you guys know my take on my trade, which is air conditioning, refrigeration, HVAC, and just trades in general. Now, as most of you know, HVAC is my given profession. It's what I do day in and day out. The machining and different things down here are just basically a hobby, something I always wanted to do, and a hobby that I picked up, and I've been learning my way through it little by little. So kind of going to start off at the beginning a little bit. Now, I learned my trade from a vocational school. I know a lot of states don't have vocational schools, but basically what a vocational school is in our case here in Massachusetts, they're regional schools, so they serve multiple towns. And what it is instead of having the 180 days of school and then you have your electives like your movie class or your band or whatever, basically all the bullshit classes, instead of having that, the school year is divided into two parts. Academics, which comprises 90 days, which is your regular math, science, English, all those classes that you do to required to graduate. Plus, instead of a foreign language, we had what was called a related class, which was all your coursework from your shop that you chose. So in other words, all the book work. In my case, it was learning how to read schematics, drawing ladder diagrams, learning how refrigeration systems work, the actual principles behind everything, basically just the book work. And then the other half of your year, which comprises another 90 days, is your shop class, which is your actual hands-on training, where you go into your given shop and it's all hands-on of whatever you're doing. In my case, it was starting off building electrical circuits from a simple light switch up until incorporating pressure controls and contactors and things like that. Building walk-in systems, installing split systems, and also we did a lot of the actual maintenance in the school. We went up on the roof and they showed us how to fix some of the ACs and stuff like that. They don't necessarily do that anymore, just because of safety reasons, and also younger kids are kind of assholes and don't know where to draw the line anymore. So that's how it worked out. And the way it was divided was you had 1 week of your academic classes and then 1 week of your shop class, and it alternated. And then your senior year, instead of going to your shop class in school, what you would do is go to your job. So if you had a job in your trade, you would go to that job and get paid for it, and basically on-the-job training, and then your boss would give you a report card to bring back to school. And you had to maintain a certain academic average and a certain average from your employer. So that's kind of the breakdown of how this worked. Now, so you went through your middle school days, and then in 8th grade you had a choice whether you were going to go to your town's high school or the regional vocational school, which in my case comprised of 5 surrounding towns. So I didn't want to go. I did not want to go to the tech. I adamantly just didn't want anything to do with it. My brother had went there, and he took culinary arts, and then has since gotten out of that and is doing something else. But it's not something I wanted to do. So I got dragged kicking and screaming to the open house. I vividly remember this. I got in a fight with my parents for it, and then of course they won and I had to go. So I went, and after going to I think the week before that I had went to the open house for the actual high school, and I went to this open house, and we went through all the shops. I remember going to like the plumbing shop and even the electrical shop, and they actually let us do stuff. They let us solder stuff, and I was like, wow, this is really different. This is way different than I thought it would be. Also, given the fact that at the time, which I don't know if it's still this way, but at the time, there was a stigma attached to going to the tech. As the tech is where the stupid people go. The stupid people only go to the tech. The people that can't do anything else go to the tech. So there was that little hump to get over with too. And I mean, you're what, 13, 14 years old, so you know how your mind works then. You need to be the popular kid. But so I really didn't want to go there. But then after going through the actual open house, I wanted to go right then and there. I was like, sign me up, I'm gonna do it. So anyway, I went to the tech, and then your first year, your freshman year, you have to go through all the shops. It's called exploratory. Your first 3 terms of your freshman year, you traveled through all, I think we had 40-something shops, and you got to go through 38 of them or 34 of them or something like that, and then you chose your final shop. And they had some stipulations, meaning that you had to take some of the service industries, meaning you had to take X amount of, between like the health technology and culinary arts, cosmetology, things like that. You had to take some of those. So I went through all the shops, and then it came down to choosing a shop. And me, I wanted to take automotive. That's the reason why I was there. That's what I wanted to be. I wanted to be a mechanic. I loved working on cars. That's how I got started to like to fix things. I worked on my father had canteen trucks. He did a lot of work himself, and I used to help him with it. And my uncle was a mechanic too, and I used to help him fix his cars. I loved it. So I went through all the shops, and I ended up really liking air conditioning and refrigeration. So that's what I chose. And the reason for that is because it comprises of 2 or 3 of the major shops, of the major actual trades out there, into one, and then adds another layer on top of it. So you get electrical. You're basically an electrician, more or less. And most of the guys that are licensed refrigeration techs are also licensed electricians. You get plumbing, you're going to be soldering pipe and connecting pipe. There's just no way around that. And it also adds in mechanical. So you're working with motors, you're working with things that move, you're breaking things down and apart, you're rebuilding things, you're fixing dampers, you're fixing mechanical pieces of equipment in addition to the electrical and refrigeration side. So you kind of get the conglomeration of all 3 trades, plus you get the added benefit that you now know controls. A lot of electricians don't know controls. They don't know low voltage wiring, they don't know how controls work, they don't know very much about contactors and stuff like that. I mean, starters and stuff, they know that the motor starter and how those work, but as far as a contactor controlling a unit and stuff like that, a lot of electricians don't know control work and things like that. So you get that added on top of you. And it was just a really good trade. I loved it. I loved doing it. I loved putting things together and fixing them, and that's what I started doing. Now, that's the education part. And the best part about a vocational high school is not only do you have a trade, but you can also go on. So you have your basic trade knowledge, plus you have the ability to go on to levels of higher learning. So in other words, say I didn't like my shop or I didn't want to do it for a living. Fine. I could go on to a college and get a degree in whatever I wanted to. But if for any reason that ever fell through, I always had the skill and the training to fall back on to have another job. I mean, I've seen people now, today, I even talked to a guy. He's a master's. He has his master's degree. Or is his PhD? Either his master's or his PhD. At some crazy level of college learning. He's working at Brugger Bagels because he can't get a job. And right now, at least, I've noticed, I'm 31. I've been doing this since I was 16. So I've been doing this for pretty much damn near 15 years or so. Actually, I started at my current job, I started in January of 2000. I've been with my company since January of 2000. Before that, I had worked for another company that I didn't like. So I have physically been with my company since January 2000. I am one of the younger people that I see at supply houses. There aren't very many people that are younger than me. Most of the people are older. Most of the people are in their late 40s to early 50s. Well, you know what? Those guys are gonna retire. And there's gonna be a huge shortage, not just in my field, but in any trade like this in general. Electricians, plumbers, I see the same thing. All the old timers are ready to retire and ready to get out. There are no younger people to take their place. This is a great time to get into a trade. Okay, now that we got from how I kind of started out of the way, a lot of people ask me, what's the easiest way to get to the trade? Do you like it? How much do you get paid? What do you do? Things like that. So I'm going to kind of break it up in this section. So first things first, how do you get started in the trade? Well, as I said, you can start off with vocational high school is the best way because it's free. If you're already out of high school, obviously that's not an option. So they do have trade schools, and each one is different, and each one costs a different amount. As far as the air conditioning stuff goes, around me there's Peterson School, there's RETS, there's ITT Tech, all of them are pretty decent. The only thing I would say to look for in a school is see if you can get placement rates. And I would see if they'll help you get a job. If they do, that's a big plus. Also see, a lot of them have to provide placement rates. In other words, people who have gotten a job X amount of years after they went to the school. Look into that, and obviously the highest one wins. Also, it doesn't matter what state you're in, across the entire United States, to work on any refrigeration system, to handle refrigerant, to transport it, to buy it, to use it, you need an EPA certification. If that class does not include that EPA certification, walk away. So that's the easiest way to get into it. You're gonna need some sort of classroom time no matter what. If you plan on getting licensed, you need classroom time. Take the course. You can't just walk in the job as a laborer and learn it. It doesn't quite go that way. As far as Massachusetts goes, on the HVAC side, there's not really an apprenticeship program per se. As such, there is as plumbers or something like that. So just know the rules of your state, but like I said, you're going to need some sort of coursework because you're going to need to know how refrigeration systems works, what the parts are, and things like that. And it's way easier and better for you to take the classroom than it is to try to walk into a job cold. Plus, nobody's going to hire you walking into a job cold. Now, as far as what you should do to get hired, best thing you can do, don't be a cocky asshole. Okay? What I mean by that, I don't care if you are the best person in the school, in the state. You know nothing when you walk on that job. Okay? You are just starting out, and things are way different than they are in the classroom. Learn from the people around you. If you are at a good company, somebody will take you under their wing and somebody will teach you. It has absolutely happened to me. That's why I've been doing this I've been at my job since 2000, and I've been doing this job since 1999, since I was 16 years old. I'm 31. So just be aware of that. There's a reason why I've been at my company for 14 years. But just don't be an asshole. Show up on time. You're gonna be made to carry people's bags. You're gonna be made to fetch tools. Don't give the person telling you to do that an attitude. It's called paying your dues. The school is there that you went to is there to make money. They're gonna tell you that you're gonna walk in the job and be a supervisor, have people under you, that you're gonna make all this money. Doesn't work that way in real life. You have to pay your dues. Be expected to be a little peon for about 2-3 years. In that time, learn everything you can from the people around you. You'll get to know real quick the people to learn from and the people to stay away from. Very, very easy of that. That's why I left my first company, because one of the kids, one of the guys that I was working with, got sent to fix broken pipes in a building that had broken from a boiler that had failed. Well, he went there with one of those little nylon tracksuit pant things on and proceeded to catch them on fire. I did not last long at that company. So people around you are your best source of information. Like I said, usually if you're with a company that wants to keep you around, they're going to show you the ropes and show you how to do it. Me personally, I would rather hire somebody directly out of school than hire somebody who's been in the trade for 10 years. Why? That person that's been in the trade for 10 years has bad habits that they're never going to break. That person that's just starting out in the trade, I can train the way I want him to work in my company. It's just the way it works. As far as pay goes, that varies wildly by state and by company. Just to give you a comparison, when I started in January of 2000, I started out at $10 an hour. I was there for maybe 3-4 years, but no, actually I'm lying. I was there for, 3 years before that went up. Okay? I worked for about two and a half to 3 years for $10 an hour before I got my first raise. Also, in comparison, when I first became an EMT, I got hired at $10 an hour. And that was in, 31, 21, that was 10 years ago. 10 years ago, I started out at an ambulance company, hired at $10 an hour. So, and at the time, I was making double that at the air conditioning job. So, I mean, prices and things like that, those vary wildly. You also have to be aware that there are different fields to go within this field. There's service and install work, which is what I do. There's duct work, which I don't do. There is also in-house, like somebody that would take care of a specific building. There are also specialized departments of people that take care of what VAV boxes and computer controlled things like that, which I don't do. I'm mainly, most of this is speaking from my experience. I am mainly service. I do installs too, but it's mainly service work for me, and it's light to medium commercial. All commercial. I don't do residential. And it's all mostly restaurants, office buildings, things along those lines. So I think our largest air conditioning unit is 40 tons, and we go as small as, I think we got a couple of 1-ton splits floating around in a couple buildings here and there. So that gives you an idea of my work. We don't do residential refrigeration. We don't work on, like a refrigerator in your house. It's all commercial refrigeration that we do, and walk-ins. So we do anything from a little lowboy Delfield reach-in to I have a walk-in that has 3 10-horse condensing units to it. So there's a wildly different class of work on there, and it all depends on what you want to get into. Personally, I hate, residential work. It's service-wise, it's easy. Installation-wise, it sucks, because you're going to be in hot attics and dealing with ductwork, blown-in insulation, and things like that. I hate that. So I went to the commercial side. Now, as far as what this job is like once you get hired, in my case, I am mostly service. We do installs too. We do rooftop replacements, walk-in replacements, new build-out walk-ins. We do a lot of that too. In my case, it's mainly service. So I'm speaking to you from that perspective. It is a job. There are going to be shitty days. There are going to be great days. So you just have to take the good with the bad. But you have to realize that this is a 24-hour service industry. You're going to get called on at 9 o'clock at night and have to go out. You're going to get called on a Saturday. It's just the nature of the beast. Depending on how your company is structured, some of them have rotating on-call days or on-call weeks, depending on how you have it structured. But it's going to happen sooner or later when you have to go out. It just is. So I mean, it's just something that you have to be aware of. You can't call a customer that has $50,000 worth of food in a walk-in that's down, yeah, I'll see you tomorrow. Just doesn't work that way. Also be aware that this is an all-weather job. You're going to be out in the rain, no way around it. You're going to be out in the snow if it snows where you live, no way around it. You're going to be out when it's 90 degrees, you're going to be out when it's 2 degrees. It happens. It's the nature of the beast. So you're going to be outside. Also be aware that this is a physical job. My knees hurt like hell. All right, 15 years of crawling around on kitchen floors and climbing up and down ladders, carrying compressors, puts a wear and tear on your body. It absolutely does. I'm 31 years old, but hell, it still hurts. Okay, just be aware of it. Stupid me has never worn knee pads in their entire life. For the love of God, wear knee pads. Don't be like me. So just be aware of that. You're gonna be lugging heavy equipment. You're gonna be climbing up and down ladders. So be aware you need to be on heights. All right. I was deathly afraid of heights. Deathly afraid of heights. I still can't stand some heights. It depends. Some places still give me a little bit of the creeps when I go up and down that ladder, but I still do it. So just be aware of that. I was deathly afraid of heights. I didn't even like being 10 feet off the ground and looking down. That obviously now does not bother me just because I've been around it. But if I'm 40 feet off the ground and looking down, yeah, that still bothers me a little bit. So just be aware of all that. Also, you're going to be working around electricity. You're going to be working around flames. You're going to be working around sharp objects. You're going to get cut. You're going to get burned. It's going to hurt. All right. So it's a physical job. You're going to get injured. You're going to get injuries. You're going to get cuts and scrapes. Hopefully, you don't get anything big. Knock on wood. I haven't had anything huge yet. I've known people that have fallen off of ladders. I've known people that have gotten whacked by 460 volts. And I've known people that have blown out pieces of their back because they got electrocuted. I've known people that have had third-degree burns because they were burnt by a piece of molten metal. That, granted, it was a localized third-degree burn, but it was still a third-degree burn. I've known people that have gotten frostbite from being outside for too long because they were a little bit stupid. But injuries can, will, and do happen. Your office is going to be a truck, plain and simple. You're going to be in a service van. You're going to be crammed into a van. You're going to have to drive through crappy traffic for hours on end. It's part of the job. It happens. You get paid for it. It sucks, but you got to do it. Coffee works wonders. You're going to be drinking a lot of that. Trust me. As far as things that you can do to make yourself better in the trade, or things to help out you and possibly your company, the biggest thing is customer service. That plain and simple. We have a system where if a customer calls us, it calls an 800 number, which is linked to a paging service, which then goes to all of our technicians, and we have one designated person usually that will call the customer back, and then we'll dispatch one of us. That's usually the way it works, at least with our company. The biggest thing is getting right back to those customers and getting there as soon as you can. Granted, if you got 15 calls backlogged and like 9 of them are walk-ins and somebody calls for a little tiny reach-in that they can do without for today, obviously you're going to put them off till the next day. But the biggest thing is just trying to get there and trying to get whatever you need done. Even if you, I've noticed that even if you just show up, you know, even if you just show up there, take a peek at the unit, and tell them, yeah, you'll be back tomorrow, but you know what the problem is. They're happy that they got acknowledged, that they know that it's getting taken care of. It's happened to us plenty of times where we just have so many calls, but somebody just called for something simple, but it's literally like maybe 10-15 minutes away. Stop there, poke your head in, take a quick peek at it, kind of get an idea of what it is, and just let them know, hey, yep, I know what it is. I got to get some equipment, some parts. I'll be back first thing in the morning and take care of it for you. Just that little acknowledgement of taking the burden of the question off of their head, saying, yeah, oh, beautiful, we're going to get it taken care of, puts them at ease like you wouldn't believe. You piss off customers, they're going to go somewhere else. In this economy, you have plenty of companies that are trying to slice the throats of other companies. Even around here, there are plenty of companies that don't exist anymore. You want to keep your customers happy. There's no reason to sit there and piss off a customer that you want to keep. You make more money in the long run taking care of your customers and going there and not charging them for something simple like oh, the unit was unplugged. I had to drive 2 hours, but I'm not going to charge you because I want to keep you as a customer. Yet, instead of going in there and raping and pillaging, and then calling somebody else because you're charging them every time you show up. It's just the nature, but you got to kind of make that balance with it. The biggest thing with our company that my boss has driven home to all of us is customer service, customer service, customer service, which is part of the reason why we have the accounts that we do. And you know, it's just keeping them happy is the biggest thing in this trade, is just keeping those customers happy and keeping them calling, because you know, a customer doesn't call, you don't get work, you don't get paid. It's just the nature of everything else. The other thing too is kind of get your own tool set. Get your tool bag, get your hand drills, get yourself a meter, get yourself a set of gauges, and a cordless drill if possible. A lot of companies will provide you with the job specific stuff, or the bigger equipment like your reclaimers, your vacuum pumps, and things like that. But if you have you want to have a basic set of hand tools, and also most companies will provide you with the soldering equipment and things like that you'll need, like the torch heads and torch heads, solder, things like that. So just be aware of that, and it's really, really good to have your own tool bag even before you get a job. Just put it all together, what you're going to need for the job: screwdrivers, nut drivers, wrenches, things like that. That's definitely a plus. I hope you guys, can take some pointers away from this and kind of get where I'm going, or where I'm coming from, and what I'm trying to get at here. The biggest thing with anything, in all honesty, is if you're a new hire right out of school and trying to make yourself attractive to a company, is be willing to learn, be willing to work the odd hours that people don't want to work, and once you get in there, learn from the people that are above you. Like I said before, you'll be able to find out real quick what people you can learn from and what people you want to stay away from. And those are people that you can learn from. Usually if you hang with them and talk to them and ask them, they will take you under their wing and they will teach you. It happened to me with my boss. That's why I'm still at this company. And it's to their benefit to pass on their knowledge to you. It's to their benefit to pass it on to you so that they, at the time they need to, can step back and put more of that burden on you and take it off them. That's as the trades go, that's our retirement. Our retirement is the people that we train. Most of us out there aren't working for companies that have IRAs, that have profit sharing things. Most of us are working for small companies. And the people in front of us, or the people behind us, are our insurance for our future. My boss is training me so that I can take over for him. I'm training the person under me so that he can take over for me when the time comes, and we can step back and and let them take care of the work, do the logistics for us, but have them take care of the work. That's our retirement. That's the way these things work, and unfortunately you don't see that a lot now. There isn't a lot of company loyalty out there anymore. I see it all the time. I've trained plenty of people that haven't stuck around just because they think the grass is greener on the other side, but then all of a sudden they're on the other side for 2 or 3 years and realize how lenient they had it here and want to come back, but then there's no room for them now. I've seen it multiple times. So if you get into a good company, stay there and learn and do the best you can for that company and by yourself. If you can, a lot of people look at it as just a monetary thing, but there's a lot more to that, and I can't stress that enough. Because say you can get $2 more an hour at this job here, but they have GPS in your trucks. They want you to work extra hours every day. They want you to work 2-3 weekends out of the month. Yet this job here is maybe paying you $2 less, but there's no GPS in the trucks. If you need a day off, you can take it. If you need vacation time, you take it. On the last minute, say, hey, I got a doctor's appointment. Can I have this tower off? Yeah, no problem. There's something to that, and a lot of younger people don't understand that. They look at it as just a monetary thing, get as much money as they can, but there's just way more to that, and that's one of the reasons why I'm still at the company I'm at today, is because of that fact. I might be able to go somewhere else and make more money, but you know what? I have so much freedom, and you know, so much freedom, and I know the equipment that we're working on. I know our customers. That to transition to another job where everything is different is not to my benefit at all. And kids now, I sound really old by saying this, but kids now, I've noticed coming out of school, they don't want to work. They don't want to put in the time. They expect to walk in the job and be the boss or be the highest paid worker on there and not have to do anything. But that's not how trades work. Trades, you got to climb the totem pole from the bottom up, not from the top down. And I think a lot of people don't understand that. Once you realize that fact, then that's when you can, you know, really figure out if this is something that you want to do, because you do have to put in the time. And you see it a lot in resumes and stuff that come in, where somebody has like a year here, 6 months here, 2 months here, 4 months here, never more than 1 or 2 years at a company. He may have 15 years experience, yeah, but if I have a guy that has 4 years experience and he's been working at the same company for 4 years, I'm going to want to hire him before I hire the guy that's job hopping, because I know he's not going to stay here. So what is my incentive to sit here and train him and get him all set up and be able to trust him enough to put him out on his own, only to have him switch to another company? So there is part of that to it too, a lot. And the biggest thing with any trade, I can't stress enough, is everything is hands-on. All your learning is hands-on. You learn the basics in the classroom. All your learning is hands-on, and your learning comes from people that have been there for longer than you. That's the way it is. That's the way the trade works. That's why it's called a trade, because you trade your time for knowledge. That's I know it sounds cheesy, but that's what happens. The longer you're in this trade, the longer you're doing this, the more you know, the faster it gets, the easier it gets. Granted, no matter what, you're gonna get days that are gonna stump you, but you know, keep going and you keep getting through them. So I really hope this kind of, you know, gives you an idea of kind of how this works, and if it's something that you want to jump into. Like I said, I like it. I've been doing this for 15 years. If I could go back and do it all over again, would I? I might change a few things, but I would never change learning a trade. It's something that has helped me out immensely, not only with just career-wise, but with life, with being able, with everything else. Because of this trade, because of what I know and the knowledge I have from the trade, I'm able to repair things in my house. If I wasn't able to do the wiring down here myself, if I wasn't able to build this wall by myself, if I didn't know how to do any of this stuff, I would be broke, because it would cost me too much to be able to pay somebody to do this. So the knowledge of that trade alone, whether I'm working in it or not, benefits you. So it's definitely something to look into. I know you guys don't want to listen to me anymore, so I'm just going to shut up. And hope you guys enjoyed this video, and we'll see you on the next one where we actually make some parts out here.